What if I told you that America's entire economy is being powered by just a handful of states? Not Washington politics, not Silicon Valley hype. Real money, real production, real economic muscle. In fact, just 10 states generate more than half of the entire US GDP, and some of them make more money than entire countries. From tech empires and oil giants to finance hubs and global trade engines, these states aren't just rich. They're the reason America stays rich. And the number one state on this list might completely change how you see the US economy. When people talk about the US economy, they usually talk about it as one giant machine. But in reality, that machine is being powered by a small group of states. Not equally, not evenly, and not quietly. A handful of states generate a massive share of America's wealth. So much, in fact, that if some of them were independent countries, they would rank among the world's largest economies. These states don't just participate in the US economy, they drive it. Their industries decide job trends. Their output shapes GDP growth, and their performance determines how strong America really is. Today, we're counting down the richest states that make America's money. The economic engines that keep the entire country moving. Let's start with number 10. Number 10, Colorado. Colorado may not always be the first state people think of when they hear economic powerhouse, but its influence has grown rapidly over the last decade. What makes Colorado powerful isn't just one industry, it's diversification. Technology firms, aerospace companies, renewable energy, defense contractors, and a booming professional services sector all converge here. Denver has become a major business hub, attracting corporate headquarters, startups, and skilled workers from across the country. The state also benefits from a highly educated workforce. Colorado consistently ranks near the top for college-educated residents, which translates directly into higher productivity and higher wages. Tourism and outdoor recreation add billions more to the economy every year, while advanced manufacturing and biotech quietly expand in the background. Colorado doesn't rely on legacy industries, it relies on growth. And that adaptability is exactly why it earns its place on this list. Number 9, Georgia. Georgia has transformed itself into one of the most important economic players in the Southeast. At the center of that transformation is Atlanta, a city that functions as a global logistics, transportation, and corporate command center. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport is the busiest airport in the world, connecting Georgia directly to global trade routes. Major corporations like Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, UPS, and Home Depot anchor the state's economy and attract a massive ecosystem of suppliers, talent, and capital. Georgia's logistics and manufacturing sectors are especially powerful. The Port of Savannah is one of the fastest-growing ports in the United States, handling enormous volumes of international trade. Film and television production has also exploded in Georgia, turning the state into a major entertainment hub outside California. Georgia's strength comes from infrastructure and strategy. It positioned itself as a gateway, and the money followed. Number 8, Washington. Washington state punches far above its weight. Despite having a smaller population than many states, Washington generates enormous economic output thanks to a concentration of high-value industries. Technology dominates here. Global giants like Microsoft and Amazon are headquartered in Washington, driving innovation, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and e-commerce worldwide. These companies don't just create jobs, they create entire industries. Aerospace adds another layer of power. Boeing's historic presence helped build a deep manufacturing and engineering base that continues to support high-paying jobs and exports. Trade also plays a critical role. Washington's ports connect the U.S. to Asia, making the state a vital link in global supply chains. The result is an economy driven by intellectual property, global trade, and high-margin industries. the kind that generate massive wealth with relatively small populations. Washington doesn't produce volume, it produces value. Number 7. Illinois. Illinois remains one of America's most important economic states, even as it faces well-known challenges. Chicago is the key. As one of the largest metropolitan economies in the world, Chicago serves as a financial, transportation, and industrial hub for the entire Midwest. It is a center for banking, commodities trading, insurance, logistics, and professional services. Illinois also benefits from its geographic position. Major rail lines, highways, and shipping routes intersect here, making it a critical distribution point for goods moving across the country. Manufacturing remains strong, particularly in machinery, food processing, and advanced materials. Agriculture adds another layer, with Illinois ranking among the top states for farm output. Despite population concerns, Illinois still generates enormous economic activity that ripples outward to surrounding states. Illinois isn't flashy, it's foundational. Number 6. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's economy is built on balance. It combines old industrial strength with modern economic sectors, creating a diverse and resilient system. Healthcare and education are major drivers, anchored by world-class hospitals and universities. These institutions attract talent, research funding, and investment from around the globe. Manufacturing remains significant, particularly in advanced materials, pharmaceuticals, and specialized equipment. Energy also plays a key role, with Pennsylvania being one of the largest natural gas producers in the country. Financial services, logistics, and technology continue to expand, especially around cities like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania's strength comes from evolution. It didn't abandon its industrial past. It modernized it. Number 5. Florida. Florida's economy has exploded in recent years, pushing it firmly into the top tier of American wealth generation. Population growth fuels everything here. Millions of new residents bring labor, spending, and demand. Real estate, construction, finance, healthcare, and tourism all benefit from this constant inflow. Florida has also become a magnet for corporate relocations and financial firms seeking lower taxes and business-friendly policies. Cities like Miami, Tampa, and Orlando are now major economic centers with global reach. Tourism remains a massive contributor, generating hundreds of billions in economic activity annually. But Florida is no longer just a tourism economy. It's a services, finance, and logistics powerhouse. Florida's money engine runs on movement, people, capital, and commerce. By the time you reach this point in the countdown, one thing is clear. America's wealth is not evenly distributed. It concentrates where infrastructure, talent, industry, and strategy intersect. And the states we've covered so far are only the beginning, because the remaining states don't just generate wealth, they dominate entire sectors, shape global markets, and define what economic power looks like in the modern United States. And as we move closer to the top, the numbers get bigger, the influence gets broader, and the gap between these states and the rest of the country becomes impossible to ignore. That's where this story gets even more interesting, and where America's real money is being made. As we move deeper into this list, the scale changes dramatically. The states ahead don't just contribute to the U.S. economy, they shape it. Their industries influence global markets. Their output drives national growth numbers. And when these states slow down or surge forward, the entire country feels it. Let's continue. Number 4. New Jersey. New Jersey is not just a neighboring state. It's a financial and industrial backbone. The state's economy is anchored by its proximity to New York City, giving it direct access to one of the most powerful economic ecosystems on Earth. Major financial operations, corporate offices, and logistics networks spill across the Hudson, allowing New Jersey to benefit from global capital flows without carrying the full cost of the city itself. Banking, pharmaceuticals, life sciences, insurance, and advanced manufacturing dominate, generating enormous value within a relatively compact footprint. Billions of dollars move through New Jersey's corporate, healthcare, and financial infrastructure every year, but finance isn't the whole story. Transportation, logistics, warehousing, real estate, healthcare, technology, and professional services all play major roles. New Jersey is also a critical gateway for international trade with ports, rail networks, and highways, connecting global markets directly to the U.S. economy. The state benefits from proximity. When high-value industries cluster near capital, talent, and infrastructure, productivity rises, wages climb, innovation accelerates. That proximity creates wealth at a scale few states can replicate. Despite high costs and dense development, New Jersey continues to generate massive economic output. It doesn't just support the system. It keeps it moving. Number 3, Texas. Texas is economic power through scale. Few states can match Texas in size, resources, and industrial reach. Its economy is larger than that of many entire countries, and it continues to grow faster than the national average. Energy is the foundation. Oil and gas production remains central, but Texas has diversified aggressively. Renewable energy, particularly wind and solar, has expanded rapidly. Manufacturing, aerospace, defense, and advanced technology all contribute billions annually. Major corporations have relocated or expanded operations in Texas, drawn by favorable tax structures, lower operating costs, and abundant land. Cities like Dallas, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio function as independent economic hubs. Houston anchors global energy markets. Dallas dominates logistics and corporate operations. Austin drives technology and innovation. Texas also benefits from population growth. More workers, more consumers, more construction, more demand. That growth compounds economic output year after year. Texas doesn't rely on one sector, it relies on momentum. Number 2, California. California is an economic paradox and a giant. On one hand, it faces high costs, regulatory challenges, and population shifts. On the other, it remains the most productive state economy in the nation by a wide margin. If California were its own country, it would rank among the world's largest economies. Technology is the backbone. Silicon Valley alone has reshaped the global economy. Software, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, semiconductors, and digital platforms originate here and spread worldwide. But California's power doesn't stop with tech. Entertainment dominates global media. Agriculture feeds millions. Aerospace, biotech, green energy, and advanced manufacturing all contribute enormous value. California excels at high-margin industries, sectors where innovation, intellectual property, and scale create massive wealth. Even when companies leave, the ecosystem remains. Talent, capital, universities, research institutions, venture, funding. These elements reinforce one another and keep economic output elevated. California's economy is not fragile, it's dense, and density creates power. At this stage in the countdown, the picture is unmistakable. America's wealth is concentrated where 3 forces align: high-value industries, global integration, talent concentration. The states at the top of this list don't compete on cost alone. They compete on influence, productivity, and strategic importance. And now, only one state remains, the single largest contributor to America's economic engine. The state whose output, industries, and financial activity underpin nearly every corner of the national economy. This state doesn't just generate wealth, It defines what American economic dominance looks like in the modern era. And once you see the numbers behind it, the top spot becomes impossible to argue. That's where this countdown reaches its peak, and where America's money truly comes from. When you strip away the headlines, the politics, and the regional rivalries, one truth becomes unavoidable. America's economy does not operate evenly. It pivots around a core, and at the very center of that core sits one state whose influence stretches across finance, trade, innovation, employment, and global markets. This is the state that doesn't just participate in the U.S. economy, it anchors it. Number 1, New York. New York stands alone, not because it produces the most goods, not because it has the most land, but because it controls the flow of capital that keeps the entire system moving. At its heart is New York City, a global financial nerve center unlike anything else in the United States. Wall Street is not just a street, it's an ecosystem. Investment banks, hedge funds, private equity firms, asset managers, insurance giants, and exchanges converge here, shaping how money is priced, allocated, and deployed across the world. Decisions made in New York determine interest rates, investment flows, corporate expansion, and risk appetite far beyond state borders. Trillions of dollars pass through New York's financial infrastructure every single day. That concentration matters. Capital determines which industries grow, which companies survive, and which innovations reach scale. By controlling capital flows, New York indirectly influences economic outcomes across every other state on this list. But finance is only one layer. New York is also a global center for professional services. Legal firms, consulting giants, accounting networks, and advisory firms operate at massive scale here, supporting corporations across the entire economy. Media and communications add another dimension. Advertising, publishing, broadcasting, and digital media, headquartered in New York, shape narratives, consumer behavior, and brand power worldwide. This influence translates directly into economic value. Then there's real estate. New York's property market is one of the most valuable on the planet. Commercial towers, residential developments, and mixed-use projects generate enormous tax revenue and employment while attracting international investment. Tourism injects billions more. Millions of visitors every year fuel hotels, restaurants, retail, entertainment, and transportation. Even during downturns, New York's global appeal sustains demand, and unlike many other states, New York's economy is deeply diversified within high-value sectors. Finance does not exist in isolation. It intersects with technology, media, healthcare, education, and global trade. Universities attract talent. Research institutions generate innovation. Startups emerge alongside legacy firms. This density creates resilience. Even when one sector slows, others compensate. That's why New York continues to generate extraordinary economic output despite high costs, population shifts, and regulatory complexity. Its economy is not optimized for affordability. It's optimized for influence. And influence creates money. Why these states matter more than you think. When you step back and look at the full list, a pattern emerges. The richest states don't rely on a single advantage. They combine infrastructure, talent, capital, and connectivity. California dominates innovation and intellectual property. Texas scales production and energy. New York controls finance and capital. Florida drives population-based growth. Pennsylvania and Illinois anchor logistics and industry. Washington delivers high-value technology. Georgia connects trade and transportation. Colorado builds diversified growth engines. These states don't just generate wealth locally, they export it. They influence national employment trends. They shape tax revenues. They drive investment decisions. They stabilize or destabilize the broader economy. When these states grow, America grows. When they slow, the effects ripple outward. This concentration creates opportunity, but also risk. An economy powered by a few engines is efficient, but vulnerable. Shocks in these states carry outsized consequences. Policy changes, natural disasters, market downturns, or demographic shifts here don't stay local. They become national stories. That's why understanding where America's money is made matters, not just for investors or policymakers, but for anyone trying to understand how the country actually functions beneath the surface. America's wealth is not evenly spread, and it never has been. But in the modern economy, that concentration has intensified. High-value industries cluster. Capital flows toward scale. Talent follows opportunity. Infrastructure reinforces success. The states at the top of this list benefit from feedback loops that grow stronger over time. That doesn't mean other states don't matter. It means influence is uneven. And in a world increasingly driven by technology, finance, and global integration, the states that control those levers gain disproportionate power. This reality shapes everything, from job markets to housing prices, from political debates to national growth rates. Understanding it isn't about admiration or criticism. It's about clarity. Because when you know where the money is made, you begin to understand where decisions are made and why the U.S. economy behaves the way it does. The richest states don't just reflect America's economy, they define it. And as the country moves deeper into a more competitive, interconnected global landscape, the role of these states will only become more important, not less. That is where America's money comes from. And that is what keeps the entire system running.